Hello everybody, my name is Joshua, and I would be lying if I said that I'm not completely terrified of being back in front of this camera. For those of you that want a refresher, I'm Joshua. This channel is Coffee Cats and King, where we talk about books new and old. I share with you pictures of my cats who make you wish they were your cats, and I drink enough coffee for me, you, and everybody watching. So, it has been over 4 months since my last video. In that time period, our lives have changed drastically. You may have seen some of that in Paige's videos if you watch her as well, but we have moved and my work schedule has changed tremendously. And just everything is different. So what that means is that now that we are finally kind of established, I should have way more time to be able to come on here and connect with you folks to talk about books, which is great. I've missed it very much. I've missed you, and I'm really looking forward to just catching up. I spent the entirety of today trying to go through boxes and boxes and boxes of books, organize them all, and it's been chaotic, but it's been a lot of fun. This is the first time in my adult life that I have had any actual organization of my books. So as of now, I have them all on their own bookshelves by genre. And it's not a perfect system yet because I don't have enough bookshelves, so I still have hundreds of books on the floor, but they're all separated at least and organized. And then the ones on the shelves, some of them are still sharing shelves, but for the most part, everything is together and grouped at least, which is really exciting. I said I've never had the opportunity to do that, and so with this last move, I thought now was the time. And I figured if I can get that done, hey, a great time to come back on and start connecting with you guys. So, today is just going to be a quick sort of recap on some of the books that I read in February, some of what I've read so far in March, and what I'm currently reading now. As I said, it has been over 4 months since I've been on camera. I did make a little cameo in one of Paige's last videos to kind of dip my toes in and see how it was going. The answer to that is it was awkward, it was difficult, and I was told that I was not projecting my voice in any way, shape, or form. So I'm trying to do that here a little better so that you guys just aren't hearing me mumble. But bear with me, it's been a while and it's going to take me a while to get back into the rhythm. So, all that said, let's go on and talk about some books. Alright, we're going to start with a quick recap of some of the books that I read in February. I'm continuing going through all of Darcy Coates' books. Darcy Coates was a sort of a recent addition for me. I think I started reading her last year or towards the end of 2023. And now, basically every time we go to get books, I end up buying another Darcy Coates because I want to make my way through all of her books. So this was technically a new release from her. This is Ghost Camera. And this is actually one of her oldest stories that she revisited, revamped, and put in a nice, neat little package with a few other stories. If you're looking for a quick, enjoyable read, this is a good one, and I feel like that kind of sums up Darcy Coates in general, actually. She hasn't really let me down yet. Her books are always easy to pick up, and there's just something about them that, the pages fly by, and suddenly you're done and you're ready for the next one. So, kind of the case here. Again, it is a longer novella with some short stories. Some people aren't into short stories. I get it. If it's not your thing, I can certainly suggest some other Darcy Coates. But this one, definitely really cool to see her, though, go back, take this old story of hers that kind of got her started online and revamp it with the skills that she has picked up as an author on the way. So really cool to see that sort of full circle moment for her. And I will continue to look forward to reading more Darcy Coates in the future. Next up was Kate Borman's Into the Sublime. This is one I've wanted to pick up for a long time, finally got a hold of it, and it did not disappoint me whatsoever. This was an awesome book. I'm probably going to be talking more in depth about this one soon, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because I have a lot of other books to go over. I will say it is technically YA, but I hesitate to even use that tag because so many people just immediately shut off on you when you say YA. Don't. There's some great stuff out there. I keep saying it. I think one of these days I'm just going to have to do a dedicated video on the best YA that I've read because you guys are missing out. Great book. 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. Another author for me that has just exploded in the last year is Ronald Moffey. So this is one that is more well known from him. Black Mouth. Ronald Moffey, like Darcy Coates, has not disappointed me once yet. Everything I pick up from this guy has been like a 5-star, 4.5 star. I don't know why I wasn't reading his stuff before, but since I started reading him last year, it's the same thing. I'm trying to pick up everything and catch up on his work. Not nearly as prolific as Darcy Coates, but well worth picking up his books. This is one that, again, it's a little more popular. Pretty emotional. I think it's going to make some people cry. There's something about it that makes you think of Stephen King, which in my book is an awesome thing. Grabs you right from the start with this guy being called because his disabled brother is found walking naked on the side of the road. They take him back to his house where they find that his mother has died, and actually died several weeks ago, and he's just been there with her, not really sure what to do. And this guy Jamie, he does not want to go back home at all. Something awful happened there, and so he has refused to go back since, but this has kind of forced him to do so because now at the very least he has to take care of her estate and find something to do with his brother. Jamie is not the most likable guy. It takes time to get into his character and to understand him a little better. I still felt like I did not necessarily like him by the end. His brother is by far the better, more likable, more enjoyable character here, but we're not really supposed to like Jamie necessarily. This book, though, like I said, very Stephen King-esque. Really grips you, gets its claws into you early, and doesn't let up. The one that I have to talk about is Troy's collection, This Unexpected Time. This is poetry, and you know, Troy swears that prior to this he did not write poetry. I don't know how someone just comes out with this out of nowhere, because it's brilliant. It's I wish that I had some of the talent that Troy Tradup does. He's not prolific in any way, shape, or form, but what he does write has such impact, and this is a fantastic collection of poetry. I know a lot of you don't read poetry, but if you're willing to give it a chance, pick this up, because Troy just, I mean, he blew me away with this. The man can just write, and every time he does, he says, that's it for me, I'm not writing anything else. I just keep hoping he's wrong. because to produce something like this out of nothing, out of nowhere, is just incredible. I highly suggest, if you can go back to his channel and listen to him reading some of these poems, that you do, because you can feel the impact, but with him reading, there's just something magical about it. This is an incredible collection, and man, I'm jealous of you, Troy. So apparently I had a lot of great reads in February, actually, because I also read Monkey King: Journey to the West, and this was so much fun. This book was published something like 450 years ago, and that does not in any way detract from the enjoyment. It does not read like the archaic thing that you may think it is. All I can suggest to you is that you pick up a copy, because it is an absolute delight. Monkey is hilarious. He is irreverent. And this is just a blast from start to finish. Definitely one that I'll be revisiting over and over again through the years. And thank you, Paige. She was the one that picked this one up for me, and I am so glad she did. Next was If You Want to Scare Yourself by Angela Sommer Bodenberg. This was a so middle ground kind of children's book where the kid is bored and starts going around to his family and the people that he knows and says, "Hey, tell me a scary story." And so they're all kind of compiled, and then with him telling a scary story, most of them are, again, so. There's actually one in there that's pretty darn good in an existential crisis kind of way, but neat cover to it, and just a quick fun read. This one, beautiful book for those that like an almost historical fantasy kind of book. Beautiful book here. It's about a girl that grows up in this little village where everyone in this village has a bird that comes to them at a certain age, essentially, that carries a message to say what that person's fate is meant to be. Sometimes it is a little more open to interpretation, and sometimes, like with her parents, it will just outright say, you're going to be a farmer and you're going to marry such and such. And so this girl wakes up and she waits and she waits and she waits, and no bird ever comes. And she's the first person in this village's history for that to happen to. And everyone's a little scared of what it means. So they end up sending her to live with her grandma that people are convinced is a witch. And things kind of take off from there. So really lovely book. I gave this one 5 stars as well. It is a slower pace, but like I said, kind of historical fantasy, little magic elements mixed in there, a little romance mixed in there, and just a really beautiful book. Well to read, and the cover itself. And then another very quick but fun read is a new release from T.D. Lawler. This is Super Beast 96. Group of friends go to a remote cabin for the weekend, and there's a werewolf on the loose. If you like horror from this era, you'll probably enjoy it. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it is very quick and fun. Alright, I spent a long time on those books, but hey, it's been a long time since I've uploaded, so it is what it is, right? I do have a couple that I've read so far this month that I want to talk about, so that we're just caught up. Another new release, Nicole Mello, Labyrinthine Self. Apparently I forgot how to hold the book up. So Labyrinthine Self, which looks pretty cool on camera actually, and that's your back there. Really cool cover on this one. I will say, look on Goodreads on these next few, because I just posted quick reviews on them. If you're looking for a horror book that makes you think and that has representation for the LGBTQ plus community, then this is an excellent one for you. It does not go in the direction that you think it's going to go in the first chapter or two. In fact, it goes pretty off the rails. But really enjoyed this one, and very much looking forward to picking up more from this author. Now, don't eat the pie. This was somehow Monique Asher's debut novel, and it does not read like a debut at all. This is a fantastic love letter to horror movies of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, in my opinion. It takes elements of all of those eras of horror, all those things we love, meshes them into one. There are some really heavy topics hit upon on this one in regards to abuse of various kinds, neglect of various kinds, and just things that are going to trigger some people. So keep that in mind. Be careful going into it, but know beforehand, and you'll really enjoy this book. Miss Asher has her next book coming out in August or September, I believe, and I already plan to have it pre-ordered because this was fantastic. The cover is awesome, way darker than you would think when you initially start. After that, I got into Craig DeLuey with The Children of Red Peak. I haven't read much from this guy. I did last year read episode 13, which is pretty cool. It's kind of his take on a found footage film, but in novel form, and it was pretty good. This is one that I think has the potential to really tick people off. This is one of those books where the build-up is so strong, and there's so many great things about this book. But a lot of people are going to be very mad about the ending, and a lot of people are going to be very mad because it takes its time and kind of plods along a bit. That said, I thought the tension in this book was fantastic. I thought the premise in this book was fantastic. I will admit that the ending threw me off a bit, but I kind of like it at the same time, even though it also kind of makes me mad. I don't know. So this was a little difficult to rate, in fact. I decided on a 4-star because I feel like the potential for something great was there, and there are so many moments in this book that are just great, but there's just something that's bothersome about it, something that's holding it back. And so again, I think a lot of people are just gonna outright hate this book. Personally, 4 stars. I thought it was really enjoyable, with some caveats here and there. Unfortunately, the next two, not so great. This was the newest R. L. Stine book. This is from his new House of Shivers series. This is Say My Name, Say My Name. I'm going to keep it simple. I have read probably hundreds of books from R. L. Stine at this point, and I think that this is my least favorite, period. It was absolutely awful. It is so bad, in fact, that despite the fact that I basically collect all of his books, I'm going to donate this one or something, and I'm just going to pretend like this one doesn't exist. And the only other one that I, started to read anyway, was Dark Debts by Karen Hall. Ultimately, I decided the book is 600 pages. I read 150 pages, gave it 25% of the book, still wasn't invested, so it's just too big and bulky to be taking up space on my shelves. As far as what I am reading currently, I have been very horror focused so far this month, so I decided I needed to get into another genre. I ended up picking up the first in a science fiction series. I have the full series over there, so again, this is a great time while I'm doing all this with my books to jump into a series. If I'm not digging it, then hey, I've just cleared up 3 or 4 or 5 books instead of just one. So this is J.S. Fields with Ardalan First Dawn. This is about an alien named Neek who helps to run this cargo ship. They accidentally intervene in a little space battle going on and end up with some extremely illegal cargo that, well, not only is it illegal, but shouldn't exist in the first place. And it throws Neek for a total tailspin. This is from Space Wizard Press, which is a fantastic smaller company that has only been around a few years, but all of their books have excellent representation for the LGBTQ plus community, so I'm a big supporter of them. I basically just have a lifelong subscription so that every time they have new books coming out, I'm purchasing those new books. They put out really good quality stuff. They're always working with small artists and diversity groups for things like their covers, their editing, their everything. So quick little story time there about Space Wizard, but point being, so far really enjoying it. It has been tough to go from the pace of these horror books back into the pace of a space opera, if you will. I have to keep in mind that this is part of a 5-book series, so the pacing is just very different from what I've been in recently, but I'm enjoying it. The story is starting to build, some intrigue going on there, and I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I'll probably be done with it tomorrow and have a pretty good idea then of whether I'm continuing with the series or not. As far as my ebook goes, the only other book that I read in March so far was The Werewolf of Whitechapel by Susanna Roundtree. This is a historical supernatural story. Had a really great time with it, actually. Did not expect much, but just for some reason I just really love this story. Again, if you want to know a little about the book, go check out the Goodreads review that I just put up. It'll give a great example of what you're getting into with this, but I had a blast with it. So I read that, got into another one that I was kind of contractually obligated to read, and now I have immediately jumped into the second book in the series, which is Anarchist on the Orient Express. So I'll be reading that. If it is anything like the first, I will then be reading the third book in the series directly after. This has been a really long video. Again, bear with me. It's going to take me some time to get back into this, get in the swing of things, figure out how to do this in the proper manner again, because it's like I've just forgotten everything at this point. So I appreciate those of you that have stuck around. I appreciate those of you that are giving me another chance at this. Like I said, with everything that has changed, I'm going to be on here very often now. My intention is to start out with 2 videos a week, and I'm going to try to push my way into 3 depending on how things go. But right now I'm setting it for 2, and we're just going to see what happens. So again, thank you for your patience, thank you for your understanding. Please let me know down below what you've been reading, what you think I should be reading, and let's just catch up and chat. So thank you all for joining me. I hope you stay safe, have a great week or weekend, and most importantly, drink great coffee. Cheers.